All right, y'all, you know what time it is. We got to go through the injury report for week 3, and we have a lot of notable ones. There's some big names that are on this report. So we have Green Bay's QB1, Jordan Love, dealing with a sprained MCL, missing last weekend's win against the Colts. We got Justin Herbert on here as well, telling reporters today that he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. Justin Jefferson is in for the Vikings. Meanwhile, you see Jordan Addison here. He is out because of an ankle injury. Keenan Allen out dealing with a heel injury. And then A.J. Brown going to miss a second straight game. He is out as well. We have our fantasy expert Heath Cummings with us now to go through this injury report, tell it what it means for our lineups as we have to set them very quickly. We're going to start with Jordan Love because maybe we had a little bit of hope when we saw him out at practice, but he is questionable because of that knee injury. And the QB situation there, the offense in general is very different depending on whether it's Jordan Love or whether it's Malik Willis. So walk us through how we should approach this.
Yeah, the easy one is if Malik Willis starts, then the only Packer that you can use for fantasy football purposes is Josh Jacobs. It gets a lot more complicated if Jordan Love's coming back at maybe less than 100%. I would view Love as a high-end QB2. I'd still rather start streamers like Baker Mayfield or Derek Carr over him, but I wouldn't feel terrible about it if I had to start Love. If Love's back, that moves Jaden Reed from someone I don't even want to flex to a high upside wide receiver 3, and it brings Christian Watson into the equation as a boom bust flex.
All right, so a lot depending on who is the starting quarterback there for the Packers. Let's talk about Justin Herbert because he told reporters today that he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. He is questionable for their matchup. What does this mean in terms of J.K. Dobbins and Quentin Johnson as well?
Yeah, for the sake of your fantasy team, I hope that Justin Herbert playing doesn't matter to you because what they're doing with this offense means we can't use Justin Herbert as a starter even when he's healthy. It's just run, run, run some more. We're going to start J.K. Dobbins, whether Herbert's the starter or not. The wide receivers, Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston specifically, are a little bit interesting if Herbert starts, but in like a boom bust flex type of way. If Herbert's out, you don't even consider those guys. For the most part, I would just say start Dobbins, avoid the Chargers passing game.
All right, and we have a couple of running backs to talk about in Joe Mixon, Ken Walker, and Raheem Mostert because all of them are doubtful. So if we go one by one, what does this mean? Starting with Ken Walker, is it Charbonnet time? How are you approaching that? And then let's get to the others too in Mixon and Mostert.
Yeah, I think Charbonnet is the easy one. He was a fantastic start last week, even though he wasn't efficient as a rusher. He's Jamie Eisenberg's start of the week this week. He's a top 10 running back. For me, love starting Zach Charbonnet. The rest of it's a little bit more difficult to parse. I guess in Miami, like start Devon Achane and don't start Jeff Wilson or Jalen Wright. It looked like they just trust Achane as a workhorse back now. Cam Akers will be the starter for the Houston Texans, should definitely be added. I would view him as more of a flex. It is a revenge game technically against a Vikings game that he was a part of last year, but their defense has been very good so far this year. Akers coming off of multiple Achilles injuries. I don't really trust him in a workhorse role. So flex at best for Akers.
So Heath, you know I usually like to insert some sort of question for my personal fantasy lineup, but I'm gonna do a favor for Amanda Guerra because we had a little situation earlier on the show this week where she was trying to decide between Zach Moss or Joe Mixon. But with him being doubtful, is it a full go on Zach Moss?
Yeah, I feel very similarly about Zach Moss and Cam Akers. Both guys should see 15-plus touches. Both guys, I'm not super excited about what they're going to do from an efficiency standpoint. Moss has the better matchup, so I would start Moss over Akers. And with Mixon out, that makes her choice pretty easy. Start Zach Moss.
Yeah, I have Zach Moss in another league, and he hasn't done a lot for me lately, but he is one of Dave's starts as well for this week, to your point. Let's talk about the Vikings taking on the Texans, and a lot going on here because JJ is in, Jordan Addison is out.
Really easy with Justin Jefferson. Start him and don't think twice. Anytime he's active for the Vikings, he is in your starting lineup. He also makes Sam Darnold a little bit more appealing as a high-end QB2, but this is a difficult matchup against a good Texans defense. If you're desperate for wide receiver help, you could look to Jalen Naylor. with Jordan Addison out. But really, for me in the Vikings pass game, Justin Jefferson is the only guy I want to start. I do want to keep holding on to Jordan Addison, though. Things will be better for him later in the year.
All right, so let's go over to the Chicago Bears because Keenan Allen, he is out. How do we approach this? Also considering that Rome Odunze has been cleared for this matchup.
Yeah, it's really DJ Moore or nothing in the Bears passing game. And Allen being out certainly helps him because Allen surprisingly had 11 targets in that week 1 matchup. I would not like DJ Moore near as much if Allen was playing, but with Allen ruled out, Moore's been the clear #1 over Rome Odunze in this pass game. The pass game's been absolutely awful, but so has the Indianapolis Colts defense. So I'm going to start DJ Moore as a high-end wide receiver 2 and hope it's better this week. I want no part of Caleb Williams.
All right. Keenan Allen missing a second straight game. A.J. Brown also missing a second straight game as the Eagles are facing the Saints. So what does this mean for that Eagles offense as a whole?
Well, we know we're starting Devontae Smith. Anytime that A.J. Brown or Dallas Goedert is out, Devontae Smith is basically a wide receiver 1. So view Devontae Smith as a must start in a game that might be the highest scoring game on the week 3 slate. We thought this would be a great opportunity for Jahan Dotson, for Dallas Goedert. The guy who actually benefited the most from A.J. Brown not being there in week 2 was Britton Covey, someone none of us considered starting. He's a deep sleeper as a flex. Goddard, someone I'm still probably starting just because of all the tight end injuries we have.
Yeah, let's talk about George Kittle because this just coming in that he is doubtful, dealing with an injury. I just feels like luck is not going the way of the Niners. But again, George Kittle doubtful because of a hamstring injury against the Rams. So what do you do if you have Kittle in your lineup, Heath?
First things first, for the San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Ayuk might see 100 targets in this game. Start him over everyone. Play him in DFS. I don't really want to play any other pass catchers for the 49ers. Jordan Mason, a must start, obviously, at running back. Brock Purdy is out of the top 15 at quarterback, just does not have enough weapons in this offense. The problem at tight end, besides the fact that they're all terrible at scoring fantasy points, is that the top streamer was Hunter Henry, who played on Thursday night, and oh yeah, he was terrible. My next favorite streamer would actually be Mike Gesicki, who's had some injury concerns of his own. He's got the problem of T. Higgins coming back, but he's facing that Washington Commanders defense. Gesicki would be my favorite stream. If you can't get him, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with guys like Colby Parkinson or Jawan Johnson.
And to your point, talking about these tight end injuries, David Njoku, he is going to be out again, missing a second straight game. Hopefully you've already kind of figured out what you're going to do if you have him on your lineup. But maybe like long-term, Heath, where are you at on Njoku?
Yeah, I think what you're going to do is not score very many points at tight end because there aren't very many good options available. But I want to hold on to David Njoku. I was really impressed with his involvement in the pass game in week 1. We had some concerns that with Deshaun Watson being healthy, Njoku's target share would shrink. That didn't really seem to be the case. So hold on to Njoku. When he comes back, he'll be a start again. With him out, I'm definitely going back to Amari Cooper, who's himself been off to a disappointing start to the year. He's a number 2 wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy, a very interesting flex. And again, the same names if you need to replace Njoku. It's got to be Mike Gesicki. It's going to be Colby Parkinson. It's going to be Jawan Johnson, and hope they score you 5 points.
I have Dalton Kincaid as my tight end, and I'm just like waiting for him to get me solid double digits, and it just has not been coming to fruition. Heath, for right now, I have no more fantasy questions for my lineup. That could change, so stay by your phone. Who knows? But we certainly appreciate it here on HQ, walking us through the Week 3 injury report and what that means for your fantasy lineup. You can catch Heath and the guys on Fantasy Football Today. Download, follow, listen wherever you get your pods, or you can watch right now by scanning that QR code.